This conference will now be recorded.
The time is now 6:35, and I'm going to call to order the Tuesday, September 14th, 2021 meeting of the Tilton Planning Board. And we'll start by going around the room and introducing ourselves.
I'm John Scanlon.
Jane Alden.
Tom Damon.
Welcome, everyone. First on our agenda tonight is the site plan review, the conditional use permit for U-Haul Company of New Hampshire, Planning Board Case 21-12.
Hopefully we're familiar faces now.
Yeah, bullets.
Can we just
Yeah,
move over here?
the one, or use the handheld one if you want. Might be this. I assume that works. For recording purposes.
They could say their name again as well.
Yep, you bet. My name is Jeff Lewis from North Point Engineering. Brian Congo from U-Haul. This is, I think, the third month we've been back here talking to you folks about this proposed expansion. I'm not going to rehash the whole project. We are kind of narrowing in on a few critical items here. The thing that held us up last month when we were here was the septic leach fields. We thought we had met the intent of the ordinance, but the board decided that we needed to take another look at that. It basically gave us two options. One was to go to the zoning board to pursue a variance. The other was to separate out our leach field into two separate leach fields, getting the new one outside of the 125-foot setback. We chose the latter route. We decided not to go to the zoning board. We kicked it around a little bit. We did another test pit out on the site. We decided that we could just separate the two leach fields. So that's really the most substantive change to the plan. I just kind of highlighted on this plan, which is the septic design plan, which is sheet 11 in that plan set I would just hand it out. Just so you can kind of see here, the wetland and the wetland setback, which is 125 feet. On this plan, I've kind of dashed in this little red where the existing leach field is, and that's the one that's in failure that we'll be removing. And then we'll be replacing it right here with a highlighted, that's the replacement system. It's a slightly smaller footprint than what's there right now. It's a little bit further away from the wetland. So that's a replacement of the failed system. So we don't feel like that needs to be outside of the 125-foot setback. But the new leach field, which will serve the new building and the existing office and apartment, will be outside of that 125-foot setback, so that it meets the zoning requirement. That's pretty much the one comment that we had addressed, and think we now finally have resolved, so we can move forward with the application. The other plan changes we made were to address the NHDES alteration of terrain comments that I think we just received those. We came before you last month, so we revised the plans to address those. Those have just recently been resubmitted back to the DES. They were mostly pertaining to drainage and drainage calculations and stuff like that. So we have resubmitted that to DES. We'll probably have that covered for DES in another couple of weeks. There was nothing that was a problem from our end. And that's basically it. This is the original site plan. We have not done any other modifications to the plan or the layout itself. It was really just that septic issue and addressing the DES concerns. Just to kind of to reiterate from where we were last month, we have received our wetlands permit for this project, which is important because we are proposing to fill these 3 wetland areas as well as the buffers around them. So that's one of the conditional use permit applications we have, is for the wetland impacts and the wetland buffer impacts before you folks. We also have the conditional use permit for the groundwater protection district because we have over 2,500 square feet of impervious. So we are hopeful that with the information we've provided to date, the board will feel comfortable granting those 2 conditional use permits. Certainly the wetlands application being approved helps the cause there. We have also received the driveway permit from NHDOT. We had that prior to the last meeting. So really the only outstanding item right now is the DES alteration terrain permit, which we should have in a couple of weeks. We'll also be obtaining septic approvals for the 2 septic leach fields, which we're prepared to submit tomorrow, provided that we have you folks on board, that we haven't met that zoning requirement. And just a kind of a reminder, we do have 3 existing parcels here that we're proposing to merge. So as soon as we have a conditional approval from the planning board, we'd be looking to merge the parcels as one of those conditions. We'd be looking to address any remaining engineering comments or staff comments. I'm pretty sure we have a review letter from Steve Keach that there aren't any other issues other than to obtain the state permits and have the board vote on those conditional use permits. And I think that's about it, unless there's any other questions or items you think I missed.
100-year storm.
We provided 100-year storm calculations in the last submittal we submitted.
Okay.
And that went to the Conservation Commission. I know we've submitted everything. I'm not sure. We did not attend the last meeting. I don't know if they talked about it or reviewed it, but I haven't heard anything else. From the
John?
Conservation Commission.
They talk
I
about
haven't gotten any follow-up, other than the follow-up that they did regarding the septic, so.
Yeah, that's all I saw. You were,
Okay.
you were there, John, right?
Yeah, I remember some discussion on.
And we're happy to go back. I mean, we had, the way we went to the Conservation Commission is if there was any other comments and they felt they needed us to come back, we'd be happy to do that. So I think we'd be perfectly satisfied with, you know, if the board was inclined to move on this tonight, that we accept the condition and satisfy any remaining Conservation Commission concerns.
Sorry about that. We just received the last letter from Steve today, so
Yes.
we haven't had a chance, I haven't had a chance
Okay,
to
yeah, that's
review
fine.
it.
Thank you.
Oil separators are installed in the catch basins, is that correct? That was one of them.
Yes, we did that the last time.
Okay,
Oh, they have been, okay.
Yeah, we, all those Conservation Commission, that's from a month or so ago.
right, that's the,
Yeah, we addressed all those.
okay, great. So the only other thing I have is fire, the sprinklers and the
Yeah.
water system.
Right, so that's still ongoing. That's been, Brian's engaged with the engineer who's working to design that system. I believe that I don't know if they've contacted the fire department now. That was the first kind of order of business for them to make sure that they're on board. So that would be something we'd be looking, obviously the fire department's gonna have to approve this. It's going to be fire sprinklers, but they're working on a fire suppression design right now. And that plays into whether or not there's a hydrant on site and where that hydrant is located. So that would be something that we would be looking for as a condition of approval.
So you have water,
We do not have
you're using a
municipal water.
well.
Correct, yeah.
You have the well as existing though?
There's a well that's existing that we're going to be abandoning and drilling a new well. So we've shown that location.
Okay. All right, input from the planning board. John,
So the it would be conditional on the 100-year storm, plan for 100-year storm.
you say
You're good with that?
that's been presented though, right?
We have included the 100-year calculations in the previous submittal, yes. They went to the Conservation Commission. I'm not sure if the engineer, I mean, alteration terrain, DES and your town engineer are only reviewing us for compliance with the town regulations.
Mhm.
So we've submitted, I mean, basically a 100-year storm. Normally for a 100-year storm, what we do is we make sure that the water is not causing any problems downstream. So it's going to where it's supposed to go. In this case, it's going to the DOT right away, which is going under the, into the drainage system, under the road, or going right down into this well. And it's not flooding out any properties or anything like that. So that's what the calculations show.
So you'd put on here that you'll meet the 100-year storm runoff, our requirements, town.
Well, your requirement is to provide calculations for the 100-year.
Correct.
That, which we've done.
And the site will meet it.
Well, I don't know what that means.
Well, you can provide the
Yep.
information, but constructed, it will meet those.
It will meet the requirements of a 100-year storm.
Mhm.
There's not, I mean, when you say that, that's where I just kind of I put my engineer, I'm thinking from that perspective what the regulations are. Usually you're talking about a peak flow or a peak volume or some component of that storm for a 100-year storm. In this case, the 100-year storm, I think what you're implying is we don't want an increase in runoff from the 100-year storm. So what I need to know from you is, what does that mean to you? Are you talking about the
So
flow? Are you talking about the volume? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about I think we have a regulation that states that it would be designed to meet 100-year storm. Do we have a copy of that?
I'm not aware of that.
I don't think we do.
It does say in the wetland conservation district. I believe.
You have page,
Or is it in the brown?
Or is it?
I'm not sure it's in our regulations. We just always required it.
Yeah, it is a requirement. I
We
remember
used to
seeing it.
require the 50, but I think, but I'm not sure if it states it.
I'm hard to find it.
We've always required it. I didn't have no less 7 years.
Sure it is. In there.
It would be under
Reference it in here.
groundwater protection.
I'm just not sure how it's worded. But our regulation is how it's worded on it. Just want to make sure that it's not going
Yeah,
to
well,
become a problem. She's,
she's looking up.
Yeah, she's looking it up now.
My recollection is that the town regulations have requirements to not increase runoff for the 25 or the 50-year storm, which is consistent with the state regulations.
Yes.
The Conservation Commission has to see calculations for a 100-year storm, which we provided. That those mean different things to me, but I don't have the regs in front of me, so we'll see what they. It's not uncommon for people to ask about a 100-year storm calculations because they want to see what happens. We have a system sized to ensure that there's no increase in runoff, peak runoff flows for these different storm events, 2-year, 10-year, 25 or 50-year storm. And say, what happens at a 100-year storm? If your basin fills up and overflows, where's it going? Is it going to go flood somebody else out? What's it going to do? So it's more of a flood control issue. In this case, what we're showing is it's going where it would go, normally. We're not being asked by a regulator normally to provide attenuation of the flow for a 100-year storm. So But it's not the
Yeah.
company to answer that question. So when I see a question to provide calculations for 100-year storm, to me means what happens in a 100-year storm. I cannot sit here and tell you we've designed a detention basin for a 100-year storm. We've designed a detention basin for a 50-year storm with a foot of freeboard so that it's got extra capacity. And what happens in a 100-year storm is we want to make sure that it's going through our emergency spillway. It's going for any storm larger than a 50-year storm. So that's, the specific comment that I saw was a checklist comment from the Conservation Commission to provide calculation for 100-year storm.
I probably have that.
It's definitely on the Conservation Commission checklist. I know that's where it does exist. Wording there. That.
As you know, we've had quite a few 100-year storms. And
Well, and
in
that's why
fact,
we
one year we had-
required it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yes, 8 years ago, we had 3 100-year storms in 1 year.
Yep.
So it's- times are changing, I guess. But, if it's properly controlled, that's the idea.
Well,
So it's not going to wash
the
out.
answer is it's not, because it's going to a culvert of the DOT highway, which is not sized for 100-year storm. So it doesn't matter, really, in that respect. Everything in line is going to be.
So I could not find a 100-year anywhere. And actually, Mr. Brown, who I spoke with on another project when we were looking through these regs for something, as he mentioned, the only place that says 100-year storm, John, is on the application to the Conservation Commission application. It says that, but not in our regs or in our ordinance that I'm aware of.
I'm not aware of it either, John. That's what I.
But that's what I was just explaining, was that my understanding was that was just an extra item that the Conservation Commission likes to see in addition to the
I think he's
regular.
right, yeah. I have, like I said, same discussion with another engineer.
And I know we've had the discussion on the planning board in the past too. That we're the ones that I think initiated requesting that because of the recent storms we had had. And we became very concerned about it. And to my knowledge, we never put anything in writing. It was just a question that we asked, which is why I think my first question to you was about the 100-year storm.
Right, and so we have provided that information, so it's available. It was part of the last review that went to Mr. Keach. It's part of the material that went to the Conservation Commission.
And I'm just reading over his last notes and I don't see any reference to it at all. Okay. John, anything else?
No, I think we've,
Are you talking about the notes you received today?
Yes.
Well, that should be just septic, correct?
No, he reviewed
No.
everything.
Okay, he did today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got
Sorry.
He actually,
everything.
it was great that he did it, and that took the time to
We've got
turn it
some
right around.
meetings, so I know
But
what's
we
up.
just received it. That's why I'm trying to
Yeah,
read it.
no, take your time.
John, do you have anything else?
no.
Okay. Do you have anything, Tom?
No.
Nothing else from the planning board? All right, I'll open it to the public now. Does the public have any comments or questions? No? All right, I guess we're at a point where we can either approve them with conditions or continue it till we've had a chance to thoroughly go through Steve's comments. It's up to the planning board. How do you feel? John?
Well, I read through the comments from Keach, and I think it stated a lot about the septic that was addressed, so you're.
Yeah.
Some parts will still be within the 125, but it's for the other septic tank that was already there, and repairing it, and actually will be less use, if I read that correctly, because
Yeah.
you're now connecting part of the house will be to the other one, which is outside the 125. So that seems like that covers all that. It's a tough site.
And
It has been.
well, that's why it was just let go for so long. I remember years ago, another group came and wanted to do something and they just said, they're the ones that abandoned the house. you know, they had all kinds of plans and they did a little bit of work and then all of a sudden they just said, never mind. And it went away. I want to be clear on what you're going to do for the water for the sprinkler system. If you would just explain that more, a little bit more.
So they need to sprinkler the building.
Yeah,
So-
well, I know, I understand that, but your source of the water, you're
Yeah.
saying,
So because we don't have municipal water here, they're going to have to they have to have a reservoir on site. So you have to have a big tank. We're working as to the size of that tank that'll meet the fire suppression needs of the building based on the building code and what the type of construction. And that's where we work with the fire department. So we're gonna have a tank somewhere on the back of the building, which is on the higher up elevation. So the ground would be working for us. So his engineer is working on the size of that tank. It'll be somewhere back here. So we know that. And then it'll plumb to the building. That'll be filled with water all the time and it'll meet the needs. In addition to that, the fire department probably wants a hydrant out here that's connected to that as well, or maybe as a separate.
all right, that's all I need. That's all I wanted to know. I just basically wanted to know where you were going to put the source of water and how it was. Okay, all right. Because that was a concern I had because of the sprinklers. All
Now,
right.
if you did put that in, would that have to come back for the location of the tank to the planning board? Or
I think only if we needed to do some type of, we're filling that whole wetland right there, so it's gonna go up there. We have a wide driveway on the back, so we should have plenty of room. I don't think we need to come back. I mean, it's up to you.
Basically set it up.
It's up to
We
us,
knew
but
that
I
it was
don't
gonna
see
have to
any
go there,
need
So
to.
we set it up for them.
We would, we would like to just work that out with the fire department if for some reason.
Well, one of the things, like depending on the size of the tank, you're changing your impervious surface size. And then also we've had problems where tanks have actually been overflowing for quite a while. How would that be handled?
How they've been overflowing.
Yeah, just left to fill and overflowed and did some washout.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that shouldn't happen. I mean, this tank will be full of water. I mean, we've accounted for it in the impervious area calculations on that, just the gravel driving area behind the building. We have that big wide gravel area behind there for the purpose of, there's going to be something back there like this. So that's why we have the access back there. So I don't think we'll be adding any impervious area as a result of that tank. If there's any other change that goes outside of this scope, then I think that'd be, reason to come back to the planning board.
And I think the engineer would tell us that. I don't see any need, but as long as they would meet the requirements for the fire department for that. And the space is there already. It's not, they're not changing the space at all.
I mean, the process would be, we'd be looking for conditional approval subject to us finalizing this with the fire department. So if that takes another couple of months, we're gonna have to show that on the plan. And so the final plan that comes back to you will show that.
Yeah.
That's all. And you'll see it and you'll say, well, that looks a lot different than what we thought. We need them to come back. But I'm confident that will be the case.
So Jane, if I can, I just want to.
And there were a couple other permits that's still open.
Yeah,
Well, I
and
have.
also
I
on
have-
stormwater, I just found the reg for me. It's kind of hidden. Here, but- So in your regs, storm flood routing calculations shall be provided for the design of each detention basin and pond using acceptable methods as may be approved by the town engineer. In addition to the design storm, a 50-year storm analysis shall be conducted to establish the 50-year elevation at the detention basin, maximum of 12 inches, so it's 50.
Which is what we.
Yeah, he did say 50, and then he said you guys asked for specs on 100.
That's what I
That's
said.
what he
Asked
said.
for the
So
100.
we're all on the same page.
Yeah, okay.
But that's what it is, it's 50.
Just
And-
go and
and
make sure
because-
I know, I'm
everything that you
listening,
get
I'm
is
like, wait,
like,
I'm hearing the same thing.
Yeah.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah. Okay,
Right, so that's the storm, so we got that.
okay. Tom,
But,
Yes,
any questions?
no.
okay, also as procedure, you have 2 conditional use permits you need to approve. And then the site approval with your conditions, probably use the include Keach's comments.
Well,
He
I've
has
got,
some conditions.
I have, yeah, I've got those
Okay,
things.
as well as you can or can't determine if you want to use the comments from fire, and you probably should require performance bond.
And I think that's in Keisha's.
Yeah, I don't think he said it in here. He doesn't always put it in here,
Oh, I thought he-
but
I thought I
I think
read
we
it
should put it as a
someplace.
condition because we'll need a site review. Make sure everyone's. And obviously their AOT permit, and all required state.
Yeah, well, I've just got all required state. I didn't list them.
Do the plans mention anything about the maintenance reports or the maintenance of the oil separators?
The application to the DES AOT application has the inspection and maintenance
Okay,
plan in there. That was one thing that we talked about the last meeting, which
Yeah.
maybe a condition you want to add is that those. be
they
made
send the
available.
reports.
We always make them available to the town. It's just a question of, do you want them submitted somehow and who do we submit them to? That's what we need to know. If you're gonna make it a condition of the project, it'd be more an ongoing condition. So that's up to you. You could include that as a requirement.
Yeah. Well, I know they said to send them to TCC in the town, but I think send them to land there's a file that's kept on site,
Yeah,
on different sites, so it just gets sent to, I guess,
To-
land
to-
use, who
to-
keeps that
the
file.
land use coordinator.
I think
So that would be the inspection and maintenance
Yeah.
reports, annual report.
So we have 3 conditional use permits, correct? You said 2, but I thought we had 3. Within the Wetlands Conservation District, within the Wetlands Buffer Zone, and the groundwater protection.
Right, conditional use permit for the wetlands and then conditional use permit for the groundwater, just that those are 2 different ordinances.
Okay. But we don't have to do one for the buffer zone?
You can do them together.
Oh, the wetlands and, okay, conservation together? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
And you have,
I don't have them. Do you have them written? I don't have them
with all the conditions.
with all, I have.
Well, you're
and
just doing the
that's, I'm
conditional
just
use
doing the
permit first.
conditional use permit. Okay? I'm not doing the site plan permit yet.
Oh, okay.
This is just a conditional use, okay? Within the Wetlands Conservation District and the Wetlands Buffer Zone, that's 1. And we're going to do those together. And then the groundwater protection article, 15, that H:2. Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the conditional use permit within the Wetland Conservation District and within the Wetland Buffer Zone. Is there a second?
Second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And the second, I'll make a motion to accept the conditional use permit for groundwater protection. That's per Article 15 H:2. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's for the 15%
Yeah.
impervious.
Okay, so the next is the site plan. Now, have you had an opportunity to look over Stephen's comments yet?
No
Because
comment.
you have no comment?
No.
John, anything else?
So this is a review of this plan?
Yes.
The one that's dated September 14th that I gave you tonight, I gave you a hard copy of that tonight and I emailed it earlier today. You might not have seen the email, but you have a hard copy of Steve's comment.
Here,
I have another copy here, right?
Okay.
there's another, she just put one down tonight too,
Yes,
John.
no, I have that,
Okay,
but his
all right.
comments are for this specific.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, and he
yes,
got
the
that news
current
plan this morning as well, and he said he incorporated that. As a matter of fact, he's the one that saw that.
Is everybody comfortable with us moving forward with certain conditions to approve it? John?
Site plan,
I think we've covered everything that Steve was concerned with, and
yep, that's,
Couple
so
other
yes,
things.
and he refers to the site plan, 21 drawings, last reviewed on August 26th, so that
Correct.
that is
Yeah.
those, yeah.
You're
even
comfortable?
though we got an update today, but he saw that one as well.
All right. So I'll make a motion to approve the site plan review with the following conditions. That you have completed copies of the New Hampshire DOT driveway permit.
You can say as conditions, all conditions listed per each is.
Okay, all conditions listed.
You guys,
for
you had
DOT.
that, right? You saw that.
Yeah,
You know
okay.
those are.
All right.
And
And in addition to that, I don't think he has the bond. Hey,
It's, no, that you would list separately. A form will be required.
okay, performance bond required.
Form surety bond
A surety,
for the site,
yeah, for the site plan.
site compliance.
Anything else?
the only other was that no snow would be stored in that, you refer to as detention pond.
Yeah, we talked
Yep,
about that.
So add that. Just, it won't be in the pond itself.
We don't want to break that nice wall, so.
Okay. So you want to read those back then, Leanne?
Yeah, so all conditions as listed per engineer's report dated September 14th. All state and local permits, which is standard DOT driveway permit, performance bond, surety for site compliance. The merger, which he mentions here, and I want to say separately as a condition. I know that you plan to do it.
A notice of the voluntary lot merger.
I believe he mentions the DOT permit approval, which is all state and local permits. That's all conditional approval. Anything else? Fire, you're gonna leave that out and deal with that on the construction, I guess we'll be able to get his.
Yep.
I said the fire, the sprinkler we'll deal with on the construction side, or he's not gonna get
We're
his
not gonna
building
get a
permit.
finals, but we want a final second that to you until we have that worked out, so.
Okay. Anything else? Is there a second?
Second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Okay.
We good? Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well.
All right. Please bear with us because we got a lot of information tonight that got to organize here.
The next one is the conditional use permit from Ty and Bond for Eversource.
Yeah, I just let me, you know.
Yep. You, Jason?
I'm Jeremy.
I think I got all of these.
So if you need it, Jane, here's the application, I can give it to you, and here is, they did go to conservation, and we have comments from them, so here, I'll put this together, Jane. I'll help you.
No, I think I have it here somewhere.
You can use that, it makes it easier.
Okay. Next on the agenda is conditional use permit for Eversource. It's a proposal to replace 3 utility structures which require temporary impacts within a 20 and 100-foot wetland buffer.
Yes, for the record, my name is Jeremy Degler. I'm an environmental scientist at Ty and Bond, representing Eversource tonight. As you said, it is a replacement project of 3 structures directly to the west of Sanborn Avenue. In between Sanborn Avenue and the first structure, there's an access road with 2 small wetlands on either side. Those 2 small wetlands are afforded a 20-foot wetland buffer. And at the far western end of the project is a larger wetland that's provided a 100-foot buffer. And as part of this project, as part of the access to get to the structures, and as putting down a timber mat work pad around one of the structures, we're proposing 7,324 square feet of temporary impacts within the buffer. There will be no actual impacts to any wetlands themselves. There will be erosion and sediment control in place on either side of the access road and near the structure replacement areas. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. And if you something I can't answer, there's several people from Eversource behind me who can.
All right, John, any comments?
No, you're familiar with the recommendations. I think there's 4 of them from the Conservation Commission. And I don't know if
Yeah.
you're okay with having those as conditional uses. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm good.
You have a copy of those?
Yes, I do, right here. Thank you.
You have any comments?
Oh,
Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the time bond conditional use permit for Eversource Energy with the 4 recommendations from the Tilton Conservation Commission.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Liam, make sure those are spelled out there.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, she'll have them in the record minutes.
okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
That was my original vote. Can I have that one back? And the tie bond? Did I get
This?
it? Yeah. Thanks.
And do you have an extra copy of those 4 conditions? Thanks.
All right, so what we have left is landscaping. I think the engineer just went downstairs with the applicant and then I think they probably thought it was gonna take longer than it did.
Okay.
It's fine.
Get the mic.
What's that?
Get the mic. I don't have a microphone. Not probably, but I need it.
And the next case is a site plan review and conditional use permit in the groundwater district for JA Total Properties. Planning Board, case 21-15, 477 Laconia Road. Map R10, lot 60. Going to construct a 60 by 60 foot shop for storage and maintenance of the equipment used in landscaping business. And a conditional use permit for impervious greater than 15% in the groundwater protection district. Welcome.
Welcome. Good evening. My name is Kent Brown from Brown Engineering. And I'm here tonight representing Joshua Morcell and his partner with JA Total Properties in his application for a site plan and conditional use permit. We're adding a shop and storage bins to the property. Property is located at 477 Laconia Road. The site is served by town water and sewer. The drainage has been designed because there is a small increase in impervious area due to the new shop. We did a drainage report and designed the drainage for a 100-year storm to contain the peak runoff. We utilized a 4-bay and a bioretention basin, which are best management practices that are used with AOT permits. This doesn't require an AOT permit, but we use the same practice that they would have used or require. We do have a conditional use permit because of the impervious greater than 15%. We believe that the use will not be detrimental to the character or enjoyment of the neighborhood because it's been similar use for many years. It was previously the location of Tilton Nursery. That the use will not be injurious, noxious, or offensive. It's going to be a landscape company running it, so their goal would be to have things look and feel right. And the use will not be contrary to the public health or safety because there's no anticipated increase in the traffic loading from what was there before with the nursery. If anything, it may be a little less because they're not really sure if they want to do that kind of big nursery at this point. Right now, it's to run their landscape company. I know you had a conditional hearing or a conceptual hearing already.
Correct. They can.
Yeah, and Eric Buck, the landscape architect, did the presentation. I'm here tonight as a substitute, so bear with me. And I think Josh can answer some questions. Eric had a death in the family last week and he just wasn't okay.
Sorry,
Yeah, his father passed away very unexpectedly. So
sorry.
I'm in here. I have an engineer from my office, Mario. So I think between the four of us, we could hopefully answer any questions you have.
So you have not, this is your first hearing on this, just so you know. I know it feels like the second one because the first one was conceptual. So you still have to do all your protocol.
Leanne, did you send this to Steve Keach for review?
I did not.
Okay. I just hadn't seen anything, but you wouldn't have sent it to me anyway, so.
Right. I did not.
And if we could just remind them to also.
Oh, yeah,
the microphone.
Yeah, me too.
We don't leave this up to Keith.
I can send it if the board would like more information, but I did not send this to engineering.
Yeah, so
It's an existing site and
and they're adding basically a 60 by 60 barn. Which we have. 9-story. This is pretty much what they're trying to. This is the existing building that's there now. It's 2 stories, and you can kind of see the look. And we put that in the plan because they're trying to match kind of the look with the new building. So it's sort of a barn motif. So.
Just speak a little bit, also storage areas, material storage areas, that being added as that.
Yeah, there's currently bins along Laconia Road existing. There are.
Over on Silver Lake Road.
They're located in this area. Oh, this area.
Silver Lake Road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Silver Lake Road.
Well, no, the
The
existing.
current one,
Oh,
the
existing,
existing.
okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
they're right in here.
Right.
So they're getting rid of those, is that right, Josh? Yeah. And they're putting them over along Silver Lake.
If anybody wants, John or Tommy, you want to see the big plan, I have it here, if that helps you. You want the big plan? So here's, so the life events are here. The building, this existing building. This was the landscaping that Joe was concerned about on the corner, I believe.
What are you gonna be storing in the building?
In the actual building, the building is just designed for us to store vehicles in during snowstorms, free storms, and then tools, basically, for maintenance of our own stuff.
It's just a question, do you use salt in your business?
Do we use salt? Yes.
Where do you store that?
We store it offsite.
Okay. That was my question about what you were gonna store in the building. I'm on,
Yep.
but all salt and fertilizer and things of that material will be stored offsite.
Fertilizer will be stored inside. The plan is the existing shed that's on there.
Oh, in the shed.
It's a pole barn that's there. We're pouring a concrete pad.
Okay.
And we're gonna keep that for the fertilizer, the palletized material, so it stays inside.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Marceau asked me some questions about salt storage, and I asked the board if we could maybe enlighten us a little bit on that, because of course, the big part of his business is snow plowing in the wintertime. Currently, he has a place he stores his site, but what would be the requirement? If he did it on site, he was anticipating having a concrete floor and a roof over it, but is there any allowance for doing that, or is that another, if he wanted to do it, would he have to come back for a variance?
It's not a permitted use if it's right on the ground.
Okay,
It could,
Outside.
outside. It
Yeah.
could be stored in a building, but no, it's absolutely not permitted.
would he, if he covered the, let's say one of those storage buildings over, made it building-like, would he need to come back to the board for that?
If he wanted to add a building on the property, yes.
I think that's under jurisdiction is the DES, because it's a wetland, it's a wetland conservation.
It's a wetland,
overlay.
it's
So that's
protected. And
not-
that's why
not
we
the
can't,
state.
we can't do anything to
Okay, that's what,
avoid that.
he asked me the question, and I thought that was the answer, but I just wanted to hear from him. Do you have any other question for them about that?
So it has to go before the state to do that? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the town of Tilton doesn't allow in the groundwater district any storage of salt outside.
But
That
inside,
said,
So where we currently have it, it's in bins, just like the bins are gonna be on site. Has a roof structure over it, so it's covered on 3 sides, basically. So is that, and it's on pavement, it's not on dirt, so.
Not permitted.
all I know is the wording of the ordinance
If you,
is
you want,
no outside storage of salt.
we had this discussion earlier, and that's why, Leanne, if you could
I don't know
read
how
that,
else to define.
page 63.
Yeah, and I know it says in bulk, but there's no definition
No,
of
it doesn't
bulk
even
either.
just
No,
say
it doesn't
bulk,
say
it
that.
says, yeah, I'll get it. I have it. And we bump up against this a lot with landscapers. It's page 63 of our ordinance.
Mhm.
So prohibited uses is the outdoor storage of road salt or de-icing chemicals in bulk.
Yeah, and that's what you and I talked about, was the definition of bulk. There's no, what is bulk? Is bulk a certain, is there a certain amount of tons? Is there a certain amount?
More than a wheelbarrow load.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think more you're
more than a few
your way
bags.
around it, if that's what you're, not even a way around it, but I think
No,
the
no.
hinge pin is more the outdoor storage of. So I think we all know that it's bulk. I mean, when I have a 5-gallon pail of salt in my garage, that's not bulk. I think if you're using it commercially, I would consider that bulk. I think anybody would consider that bulk with shorter definition. But I think the question to the board would be more what is considered outdoor storage. Is a roof and 3 sides and, a pad considered inside? So, and I can't answer that because that's all the ordinance I have to follow.
You'd have to read the ordinance, and go by that.
Yeah, that's all the ordinance says, is outdoor. So I guess
So
the
it's-
question,
if you
as
fit,
Leanne said, is, what constitutes indoor? Would it be 4 walls and like barn doors, or would it be 3 walls and a roof? If you can't put it outdoors, what would
well, it's kind of,
constitute indoors?
I'm not sure we can really speculate what you have on your mind
Yeah, yeah.
and accurately do it, but
So
you know, perhaps
if we brought something in
yeah.
and showed it to you, and
Yeah.
said, here's what it's gonna look like and how big it's gonna be, then it would be easier for you to answer that.
Yeah, and maybe the board could consider it and put some conditions on that, management practices, or not. I mean, again, I'm not saying the board would approve it, but as Ken
Okay.
said, it would brought something forward that you considered inside storage and control and no, spillage. They could look at it and rule on it. I think that's probably the best place we can get to tonight unsolved.
Great.
But you've got to
Thank you.
remember, if it rains and it soaks that, the water in that will fall down,
Right.
run off and end up on the ground. So
That's why they would have to show you how they were gonna store
I'd
it.
have to really show
Yeah,
something.
yeah, we see the intent. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
So, and you look for a conditional use permit. I don't see the wetland scientist on the plan, stamp seal.
Yeah, it's on the existing conditions plan.
I didn't give you all the pages, John, I'm sorry. I
Oh.
just gave you the news. I thought you wanted to see where the storage was. Here, here's the whole. here's the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's not on this one. Okay, so they said over once it didn't have it on there. That's why you don't see it.
Yeah.
It's right here online. I just got them to send me the latest one today. But it was Audrey Clone that did it.
Okay, and she's got the date and everything on there, just
Yeah.
make sure that's, yeah, 21.
These are, you know why? Because this is the conceptual.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this isn't a revised one, this is the first one, right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
believe so.
So that's a submitted, it's kind of like a draft thing, yeah.
I think that's the one from the conceptual when they came last time.
And I wasn't here last time.
That.
Any other questions, John?
Did you folks make arrangements for Conservation Commission?
I'm
Going
gonna bring
before.
that up.
Yeah. Okay.
They've already listed that.
No, that's, it's all,
All right, anything, Tom?
You understand, you're gonna keep the shed that's there also, and you're gonna build another building.
Yeah.
And you're gonna put the bins, you move the bins over to Silver Lake Road.
Correct.
You know,
What is the material that those bins are made of?
The concrete. They're concrete 2x2x4 concrete blocks.
So they're made so that they can be moved?
Yes.
You're not gonna have to demo those and cause any kind of problems that
No.
way? Okay. I was under the impression at your conceptual that shed there was gonna be removed. That's just what I got, because you didn't need it. Do you plan on storing anything in that shed?
That's what the fertilizer that we talked
The
about.
fertilizer?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically just cold storage. It's
Okay,
not
yeah,
gonna be
okay,
heated or.
okay, now that I've been straightened, that makes sense.
That's just our off-season storage, our summer stuff will
Okay.
go there in the winter.
Now, that shed is secure when not in use. Am I correct in assuming that?
It will be. Right now, it's just an open pole barn, but we're gonna enclose it completely.
Yes, we don't want, anybody getting in there that doesn't need to be there.
Yep, yeah, we have garage doors and
Yeah.
a side door.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right, nothing else in the planning, but I'm gonna open it to the public.
We didn't find it complete yet.
Anything else? I don't see anything else in this thing. You, John?
No, I was just going through that.
I don't-
Soil types, vegetation types.
And I'll make a motion to accept the application. Is there a second?
Second.
John? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Sorry, Leanne. Now I'll open it to the public. Any comments from the public?
Yeah. I guess I have to get to a microphone.
Right here, you just come right here.
Hi, Josh. Hello. I just have a quick question for Josh. I live at Raymond March, MAUCH, 25 Silver Lake Road. My question is, the bin's gonna be for retail sale or just your wholesale sale?
No, we have no intention of doing retail.
Okay. Because I live like
Yep.
50 feet from the fence there or whatever, and I just didn't know about having the beepers go on and off all day long from the equipment moving.
No, we don't have any plan.
All right. All right, this is my question.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Mark.
Next.
Careful the wire. It's
I'm
not really
careful.
very safe. for
I'm
people.
careful. I'm Dave Coppage. I live on 16 Brook Road. And I'm on the southwest corner of the property. And my concern is, I've been at this property for 40 years. It first started off as a landscape and flower, etc. No problems with the drainage, none at all. And then the next landscaper, there was a comment here, I'm not saying this, so he was a landscaper and he was nasty. And what he did is he tore down all the flower, what do you call them things? Yeah. Greenhouse. Tore them all down and re-landscaped the whole place and drained everything where? To me. And when it gets in the fall and in the winter, when the ground freezes, I get flooded out. And he claimed that was natural. And it wasn't natural because he graded it that way. I don't know where it used to go, but it didn't come to me. And it comes across from the smoking barley, goes right across, right to me. Doesn't bother Skip, I don't think, but it bothers me. And what I find offensive is that two sides of this property is non-residential. The other two sides are residential. And why would you put all the storage bins on where the residential? Why don't you put the storage bins on the non-residential areas? And this beautiful building will look nice on Silver Lake Road. So I'm offensive on the whole schematic of this whole thing going. Why would you put this nice building out on Route 3 so everybody can go, ooh? Put the building back where on Silver Lake Road and put the bins where they are right now. And the bins will not be offensive to any property
whatsoever. As far as the drainage goes, I assume that there's there was a retention pond going to be built.
Just flip that over so that you can see that.
A retention pond's gonna be built there. And that's all well and good. Wait till they start digging. They're gonna find painted boards there. They're gonna find all kinds of stuff there. Because that's what the previous owner did. And why I'm so concerned is what I put in a complaint before. And this town did absolutely nothing to protect the residents of this area. Absolutely nothing. I would assume that the owner now removed the stump dump. The stump dump had been 20 feet tall, 50 feet in diameter. That stump dump was there at least 10 years. What did this town do? Nothing. So here we go, we're starting a new thing. And what's protecting from this site being changed in the future, like adding salt bins? And where's all this runoff? Is that all that salt stuff gonna go to me? An enclosed building means an enclosed building. 4 doors, 4 sides and a roof. Not 3 sides and a roof, 4 sides. And so, in the wintertime, there's gonna be a normal snow plowing and vehicles moving around. I'm glad I go to Texas in the winter because I'm glad I'm not him because he's gonna hear it. And you're gonna have, I don't get these storage bins of material. You're gonna be in and out of there all day. You're gonna, getting material. And they're gonna have beeping noises. I don't care if it's retail or wholesale or whatever it is, that's what's gonna happen. And all the noise is on the residential side. So I'm against this whole thing. It should be revised to me. The bins should be put down where they are now, along by the brook and down by the road. And the building, the nice building, should be put up on the other corner. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, come back to the planning board. Yeah,
Is this fencing? Let's see, I'm trying to see. On the plan around like where the bins are. And that, it looks like you show some vegetation and fencing on the plans. Is that what that is? So it's on page 1. So it must be on the first page in the key.
I don't have the big sheet. I've got this little one.
Okay.
What page are you on, John?
I was looking at, well, pretty much all of them show, even starting with the first page.
Yeah.
It shows fence. Is this existing vegetation along?
The fence, everything's existing.
Existing.
It's the real estate agents. They're the ones who.
Didn't know it. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
It's been up there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
That's all I do it all. John?
Like just being a lot to do with the wetlands and the flow of the water. I was looking at that, you know, if it's,
Yeah, well, one of the things, and it will be when we have conditions, is that the Conservation Commission does want to see you before we make any approval. And I think their next meeting is Monday, right?
on Monday, yeah. It's
But
looking
that,
quick.
that will be a condition, the Conservation Commission. And I'm sure their concerns are the same as ours about what's going to be stored and all.
Just by the flow of the water.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed like you have the swale, but it only, over the whole length, it only drops by 2 feet. So that's not that much. Okay. So that's good. You won't get like a running brook
Yeah.
over that.
See, when it was it wasn't really a landscaping company before. I don't think it was a nursery.
No,
So,
Tilton Nursery was a landscape.
oh, they were
A
landscape.
little bit of everything
He did
going on.
All right.
Kind of. I know there were numerous problems with, they were even pushing stuff over the bank into the brook there, which kind of filled a lot of that brook up with sediment and stuff. So I see you're addressing some, you know, trying to address to keep that from happening. I think the,
Here's the GIS map of it, if that helps anybody too, to visualize the gentleman who's speaking and where they are.
Can you see, Tom?
Got a good gist.
They're lot 60. They're on map 60.
so there's 60 and 64. So you are on, totally on Brook Road, on Brook Road? Yeah. And then the other one, fella who's here, he's the one on the Silver Lake. On this, yeah. It must be the shed.
Mhm.
Looks like a mess. What's there?
Well, that might be a little older too, but
That's, yeah, we got rid of that material that was there. We try and clean it up as best we can, you know, what time we have. But the previous owner did not take care of it at all.
Conservation Commission meets this Monday.
Yeah.
And then we meet on
the following Tuesday.
following Tuesday. So it can still keep things going, moving right along for you.
Yeah, that's not a problem to get on for Monday nights.
I don't think so. And John's on the conservation. I think
Yeah,
he can speak.
They're
to
real
that.
helpful.
I
And
think they
Yeah,
would.
no, we've been before. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if there was like a 2 week.
Yeah, but I think they would. They requested to be that you go before them to
Yes.
the board. So
Yes.
I think they understand that it would. I would think the conservation understands the timeline if they're looking for that because they knew you were coming
Okay.
tonight.
Yep.
So I don't think this board wants to hold them up a whole nother month. I think they would, right?
Yeah.
They'll still.
I'm pretty sure
It's only
they're
Tuesday.
very
yeah.
accommodating for that.
Yeah.
No.
We can send them an email and say that we made it a condition that they hear them on Mondays.
Okay, do we need to send you an application for that?
You send them the application and I can get that to you tonight and you can just forward it to them.
Okay, the email to forward to them.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So
If you want to do it to me, I can get
I
it.
think we do it.
I'm gonna make a
You
motion.
can do it.
to continue
I can forward it to you. You send me the application and I can forward it to them. You get on, on Monday here, and then you come back Tuesday. And
Yeah, Mario. maybe that's some paperwork. I think we filled one.
I think you did.
I think they filled one out of it.
The previous guy.
Yeah, Eric's guys did. Part of the problem, I'm trying to be a substitute tonight.
Who makes the motion?
I'm gonna make a motion to continue the case until what's the date? Our next meeting is
Was it the 29th? I don't have-
29th. Well, just a minute, I have to check. Give me the date.
I did fill it out because it's attached to it.
Leanne, our next meeting is the 28th, right?
The 28th, correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I would like to make a motion to continue this case for the 28th. In the meantime,
With the condition that they meet with.
with the condition that you meet with
Monday,
the Conservation Commission, which meets next Monday. Is there a
Is that all
second?
you need, Leanne?
Yeah,
Second.
because I've already sent them your plans.
All in
I hope
favor?
they all have-
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Thank you very
Yeah,
much. for
thank
your
you.
help.
thank you.
And they'll be asking us the same kinds of questions we did about that
So
You
that's,
meet here
that's a public
downstairs?
meeting too, on Monday
Downstairs.
downstairs,
downstairs.
7, on Monday.
If you guys have emails, I will copy you when I send this to them, so that you see their correspondence, and I can maybe do pulling out where it's gonna go. Ken, do you want, are you gonna be going to this one?
Probably. Can I just address the board on a separate issue real quick before we move on? if That's all right. Just going back to the drainage discussion you had with the previous applicant. I just encourage the board, one of the best stormwater centers in the world is located at University of New Hampshire. And they're world renowned. And
We know.
yeah, and I think Dr. Toole or, I think it was there. Anyway, I would reach out because I've heard lots of issues about storm intensities and years for design. And 100 years is really extreme in most of the cases that we do anything in. And we've tried to understand that ourselves as much as we can, but I think just to get an independent input, I would suggest the board maybe reach out.
Yeah, we've done a lot of study, of course, conservation. These guys have been like 30, 40 years and doing it. And I think it was about 8 years ago, we had 300-year storms in 1 year. If
Yeah,
you recall that. And then we've had a couple others since, so.
And
we've
the
been
last
concerned.
storm we had, they were projecting 100-year storm.
Yeah, and it's funny because we
So-
work, and I don't want to promote it, and we addressed it, so I don't have any
Yeah.
dog in this race, but
Mhm.
we worked with this website, the Extreme Stormwater Runoff website that we have to use for our applications to AOT. And what they do is they monitor the storms. And anyway, on that website, you can go back and look at the intensity of the storms over the last year, let's say, or the last 5 years. Extraordinarily rare for a 100-year storm. Absolutely extraordinarily rare. That's what we found. I still don't understand it completely, and we're trying to understand it so we can speak intelligently about it. But in looking into it, so when they list that, what does that mean? Is that in a 24-hour period? Is that and we're trying to get down to it. But anyway, I just suggest it's something that you might reach out to them, email them, and Jamie Wool's been great with us for answering questions and at least get some input from the experts. Anyway.
I think you have to understand too, we're somewhat protective because I believe we're the largest aquifer in the United States.
Yeah,
This Tilton
the Tilton
sits on
area
it.
with the
The
rivers.
Tilton
absolutely,
area sits on it. So we're very, very
Yep.
protective of that.
Understandable. Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
That's what I thought.
I don't think some people don't realize that. That's
Please.
it was more than a lot.
Yeah.
We're living on a sponge.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Things
Right, they'll ask.
we get more and more rain.
Where were you on the board for the 7-year?
Where was I?
Yeah, if you want.
I was renting a house in Burlington, Massachusetts. And I took a snowmobile out up and down 128.
I was at 6 St. James Avenue in Boston, Massachusetts.
So this is what I have.
And I got to stay there
I
for
walked.
2 years.
I walked from Sharon, Massachusetts to Hanover.
So if you want me to copy the
To where?
Hanover, Massachusetts.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
2 days later, I went to Situate. And I saw a house.
Our goal is to make it nicer.
Huh?
I said our goal is to make it nicer.
That property's been a pain in the neck
Yeah.
for a long time.
I mean, you can see it, we made it a lot nicer already.
Well, I've already gone by and seen that. As soon as Andrew said you were going there.
Thanks again.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We'll see you Monday.
Thank you.
Very good one. I was in Burlington, Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
And I was living in Hanover, Massachusetts.
We're still in our
Right, okay.
Who's the agenda?
Who's next?
Is that it?
Approval of the minutes?
We're going to, but we have, what about the Tanger outlet? Volta?
What is it? EVCS.
Yeah, you can put it on the agenda. I think that they are, thinking more time or something, but I'll double check.
What is
Okay.
EVCS?
Is it on the voltage?
Yeah,
But that's
it's-
the
it's-
electric
yeah.
car charging.
Volta tank. Oh,
For
electric
Tesla,
vehicle
for-
charging station.
Yeah.
Electric vehicle
Yeah, you
Yeah.
charging
can-
station.
Acronyms like
I went to Manchester yesterday, the hospital in Manchester yesterday. And I went down to where, one of the shopping centers there. Well, it's actually in Bedford, but it's right on the line. And you can't park near stores because
Of those stations.
those stations are like the first 5. At least we have it at Dunkin' Donuts. The only other thing I have, we have to go over the meetings, but one thing, minutes, but one thing I wanted to bring up was that if any of you or anyone in the audience had planned to be involved in the charrette plan that was scheduled for this month, that has been delayed until next September. So, I just want to let you know that. So
So
then,
September of 22.
yes.
Thank you.
And while we're waiting to find out why Tanger isn't here, we'll go over the minutes. Does everybody have a copy and had a chance to review them?
I haven't had a chance to review them.
Okay, want to take a few minutes?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, so they're gonna, John, they meet at 7, right? They told me, and I'm gonna email to them, but it's 7 o'clock, right? that they meet
Yeah,
at 6. Okay,
Yeah,
Downstairs, all right. I told them the agenda's out, but they should be on.
yeah, I think everybody's trying to work.
They requested that they be.
Right, that's what I told them. Okay, all right, we're doing good.
We're going over the minutes now until you came back. so.
Okay. that's fine.
And
I have something
Tom
here,
needed a
so-
chance to review them.
Let me give you this while we're doing that. This is something I need to speak to you about tonight too. This is after you're done with that. We'll take a look at this if you don't mind. And
And also, they were asking about the situation with the charging station.
Oh, yeah, they're not ready to come.
They're not ready, so we'll just.
Yeah, they took that, they asked
Just-
that they taken off.
just
They haven't
remove-
signed a lease
All right,
agreement
just remove
with
it.
Tanger yet.
Okay.
So
So we're right on schedule.
Right.
Okay, and the only thing I announced was the charrette has been postponed till next September.
Canceled and possibly be revisited next year.
The cat must be going crazy. Where's the cul-de-sac? Oh,
I remember seeing this little typo, but it didn't, I don't remember where it was now. But, so it's kind of, doesn't matter because it didn't change anything.
well, I can't find them after I see them, and if I don't mark them, I can't find them when I go back.
I circled it. I mean, it didn't change anything. It was just a,
Although I thought we continued indefinitely. See,
We continue zoning indefinitely. But please can't come here. He withdrew his sign, so he's,
continuing.
no, let's just stop. I just told him, he's out. They have completely thing.
Just want to make sure that the way that's worded.
I just told him just to let him take that.
it was, hang on a second. Just, sounds kind of awkward on page 5. The, I think no snow dumping sign on number 2.
Number 2. Oh, no snow dumping?
Yeah, that's,
Is there a specific area for the no snow? Was there a specific area for that or just no snow? I mean, anywhere?
no,
Just says
it
no
was
snow
just,
dumping.
yeah, to, and what was saying where, so that they wouldn't dump snow into the detention pond. It was just at a, something.
Sort of like we did it
Yeah.
at Honda,
Yeah, I
Glen
forget what they
Honda.
put there. Schools.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, thank you.
Can you make a motion on the minutes because I wasn't here?
Yep. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of August 10th, 2021 as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain? Okay.
So the last thing I have tonight is, I just wanted to get the board's input on a request from the engineer for Tilton storage. So I gave you a plan that's color coded. So Tilton storage, you know where it is down by Hannaford, behind the O'Reillys. That's O'Reillys in the front. And if you face it, orient it this way, the long way, so there's O'Reillys. Here's the Tilton storage. Behind here, if you're orienting it this way, the long way, is the manufactured home park behind there. So they want to change the fencing that is on the site plan and need to know if that's something they could do through administration, meaning through myself, or if they have to come back for an amended site plan. I didn't feel they needed an amended site plan, but I wanted the input of the board since this wasn't something that I was involved with when they got approved. So they're basically looking at, so the pink areas on the right and left, we'll start with the left, that abuts the Hannaford parking lot. I also have some pictures. I went out there and took a look at this. I can share them with you in a minute on my phone.
This one?
Yeah,
That's
that one, so if you turn it this way, I kind of just know the area this way. So, yeah, so here's Hannaford on this side. This side is all wooded. Here's O'Reilly's and the dollar store, and the park is behind them. So they are changing, which no one will object, obviously. They are increasing the fence in the rear to help form a better barrier for those homes back there so that they don't see it. So the green is going to be an 8-foot privacy fence, and the yellow is going to be a chain link fence with privacy slats. It was previously going to be just all privacy slats in the rear, but they're increasing that to a privacy fence, the 8 feet in the green. So that will help them. They negotiated that with the homeowners back there, the association. So that's good. On the right, where they want it, they're saying, do they have to put it's just a chain link fence, first of all. They don't need it for security, kind of probably similar to U-Haul, where they explained they have all the security systems in place now with cameras. I have some pictures I'll show you in a minute. On the right, there's a very large tree buffer and a high berm. So they're saying if they put the fence is actually going to be like sitting below the level. So I'll just show you what they mean. I think it's fine what they want to do.
Well, that's Jensen's over here, right?
Yeah.
Behind, nope,
Here.
they're behind. This, well, they are eventually, but this is very wood. Well, here, I'll show you. See how this is all wooded here?
Mm.
So, and it slopes down. So the fence is going to be sitting, I don't know if you can see that it's down there, but this is the right. I have a couple pictures of this whole side. But that's looking down because their little shed is here that you see they're building right there. I'm standing back here taking a picture looking down here.
Mhm.
So this is all that buffer.
That's Main Street out that way.
That's correct.
So
That's the little
Bond?
shed. Nope, that's the little shed right here.
Okay.
I have another one here. Might be a better one. So this is how it looks all along the side. This is how it looks. I'm standing back here. Here's that little shed. Now I'm standing at this shed that they built. See all the high trees here? So they're saying it's kind of, I guess, I don't have to save them money. They just feel it's kind of not pointless to put the chain link fence along there. So this is looking down at this. There will be a fence all around here. So this is the front. Here's the driveway coming up. This is the business down there. So this is the Hannaford side, which I think is a little different. The Hannaford side has,
I thought this was almost all, for some reason, I thought it was all in Franklin.
what, the Tilton storage?
Mhm.
Oh, that's you
You know,
guys. You did, we approved.
I believe if you look
Well,
right,
here's the line,
right here is the town.
Line.
there's the line,
Line,
I
right.
know where the
Yeah.
line is.
Because Hannaford
Don't
is in
mark 'em.
Franklin, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, so this is the other side, the Hannaford side, where the curbing is. This is all the Hannaford side. So they want to start like beyond the detention, come all the way around with their fence. They're gonna come all around this way to their shed, and then they're asking if the tree line can form the buffer here without the chain link, the high 8-foot here, 6-foot with privacy slats. This is just adjacent to the parking lot on this side here, and then start again the chain link. So I told them I would talk to you tonight since we're meeting, and I will let them know your thoughts.
I think,
I think it improves it.
well, the thing is Jensen's over here, and I don't know where they are or any comments that they might have made at the meeting requesting it.
The only
You know.
condition was the privacy slats in the back. There's, you can't see anything on the, on that right.
They were
It's
just
pretty
concerned
thickly
about-
wooded. Again,
You know, I don't know why they wanted, or what was the purpose of the fence? Was it because they didn't want trash blowing out? They didn't want people wandering through? I don't know the reason why. So I
yeah,
couldn't,
it's pretty thick.
you know, if they're expecting it and not, it doesn't get in, or they're gonna call and say, well, you said you were gonna put fence in, and if you didn't put it in, then you should have told us that in the beginning.
Yeah, it's pretty heavily wooded. And I think they have to put some trees according to the conditions. I can get you the conditions of approval. It's pretty thick over there.
I mean, that was my only thought, that's something that was approved already and they.
Yeah,
Well,
but
it is-
they
I mean, it is
come
on the
for a
plan.
Site plan, I know.
Well, they changed.
That's the wooded area. I just want to show you what it looked like.
Yeah.
On that side.
So they negotiated out that tall fence. Did they talk to Jensen's about the other fence? Negotiate
I
that?
don't believe they did.
Maybe they should try that.
So
But
here are the conditions of your approval. This was in 2017. It's conservation approval. Let's see. Screening plan shall be placed along the north and east side of the proposed fencing. North, the orientation on there.
Yes, that's north right there.
Okay, so
Oh,
that's off, right, that's in the back. Yep.
That's here. That's the north side.
I think they wanted them.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the north side.
Well, there are trees there. There are trees there. No door shall be placed along the north end of the building. So they name the buildings that no door shall be facing them. All the doors have to be
Okay.
facing this way on those last buildings. Privacy slats shall be inserted into the perimeter fencing. And snow storage area, stormwater and oil separators. So those are your conditions in 2017.
So you're asking if they need to come back for another site plan?
No, I don't think they need to come back to the site. I don't think they need to come back to the site plan. I'm asking if you are agreeable to them doing this amended fence change. I don't think this needs it. If you want an amended site plan, you can do that
In
as
the
well.
conditional use, it said that they'd have slats in there. Is there a reason for that?
The slats?
Yeah.
I think it was for the privacy in the rear here.
But I mean, it doesn't say that, so now we're eliminating this whole slatted fence over here.
I don't know
And that
what-
was a condition.
Right,
I
and
just-
I guess my only,
yeah.
I think their only point, and my only point in the thing, in the pictures was that I don't even know what you're slatting, because there's nothing there except trees, and it's gonna sit, and it's also gonna sit below the trees, because the berm goes way down, so it's gonna be slatting against the, but, I mean, if you want them to, you can just say
Yeah.
no, that they should install it as it was.
I should, or come back and just notify Jensen's, and if nobody has a problem with that, then it's all clear, as opposed to somebody saying, well, the conditional use says all the fences would have privacy slats. Now, you're,
So if you want, I can reach
Yeah.
out to the manager at Jensen's and meet with him and Matt, the engineer, and just say, do you have any objection to this change on your side? I think it,
That's okay with me.
and I mean, the rear has been changed already in their favor, obviously, in Jensen's favor, so they were okay with that. So
Yeah.
leave that. Now, what about the Hannaford side? How do you feel about the Hannaford side?
So we'll speak with Jensen and make sure that they don't have any objection.
It seems like a major change, though. I mean, this is,
They
the whole
indicate-
plan had that all in there, and they said privacy slats, so. I don't have a problem with it, but that was it.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for the thing, so
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
wasn't either.
I think, I believe in what I read, and I did go through some of the minutes, I think the privacy slats came up from this area, and I think it never was indicated that it wasn't necessary all the way around, and why we should put privacy fences all the way around the
I know.
pond. I think it was all about Jensen's concern back here, which
Yeah.
they're gonna continue to do. That was my interpretation of what I read, but I don't know if Hannaford really cares. Or aesthetically, whether it'll look better without it, to leave just that natural vegetation without
I don't
the
think
metal
you,
fence
I
all the way
don't think
around.
you can, I don't think you can even see it one way or the other.
You can see I did have pictures of the Hannaford side. John, you saw them.
Here.
Hannah's side
Yeah.
isn't as
Here's
high.
your phone.
It's just the next pictures. Hannaford's side is a little bit, yeah, see, this is how wooded the other side is.
Yeah.
The Hannaford side looks like this. So it's more bushes, there's no trees.
Yeah.
So it's much lower.
I shop at Hannaford's all the time and I just noticed it when I go in. Once I'm in Hannaford's,
You
they
don't see
come
that.
out, I don't even notice them.
So what you're saying is they want to, and it's
Wherever
pink,
it's pink,
they want to remove it.
they don't want to put
Complete.
the fence, right?
Okay.
They're saying
And where it's blue, they want to relocate
where it's, yeah, they're relocating it a little bit.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're moving
All
it
right. Where is the entrance?
right here. Yep, so you come up this way.
Come up this way.
Here's that little shed.
Yes,
I'll show
okay, that's good. Yep.
I'll show you some of the pictures I have.
I shop there quite a bit, so.
So here's Hannaford, see a car parked there, that's the Hannaford side, that's like
Right,
over here. I'm
okay.
standing up
Okay.
here looking down.
Sure, sure.
This is looking up, this is the end, the corner, this is this corner.
Yeah,
So there's vegetation, but it's not super high. Now this is the other side, this is this corner up here.
okay.
So you still can't see any of Jensen's buildings, it's all this pretty thick, see how thick it is? So the fence is gonna sit below the berm. The trees are gonna be
Oh,
almost
really?
above it. So this is looking down to here.
Well, how are they going to do the security wise?
They do cameras, same thing as U-Haul, when U-Haul said they're not fencing their storage either. They use cameras and everything's locked. So
Okay,
they're saying,
all right.
so this is the back. See, this is the house here.
That's Jensen's, right?
Right, so
Okay.
they're getting the privacy and the
Right,
8-foot
okay.
privacy fences all
Yep,
back.
I
here.
understand
These
that perfectly.
are here.
Okay.
So they're just saying, well, we don't really see the purpose of
Yeah,
doing them.
okay.
And so they're asking if it's okay to change that because it's on the site plan. And I said, I don't know, I'll talk to them.
Yeah,
So here we are.
okay. Thank you
I'm
very
happy to
much.
do whatever the board,
Yeah, I agree that just go and talk with Jensen.
Jensen's and
Yeah.
Hannaford.
And get some kind of in writing or something.
Yeah, I'll
because,
just say,
yeah,
Scott, I think it's that. Just say, confirm that you agree
No,
with the, and we
Yeah.
should get them to say they agree with this privacy
Yeah.
fence back here too, so that doesn't come up later.
'cause like I
And the-
said, it doesn't affect me, doesn't, but the abutters, they're the only ones.
Right.
If they already work something out,
As long as they do that.
All right, we'll do that. I'll call him and we'll see if they're okay with that. And if they are, I'll put in the file that they agreed so that it comes up later.
Okay,
And
and
that's
just
what I
get
did.
his signature.
Yeah, we can just do a letter saying they
Yeah.
agree to the change in the fence.
Any other business to come before the board?
Again, just any of you sign that.
I
before
know,
the-
I know that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna forget.
Make a motion to adjourn.
second,
All in favor?
aye.
All right.
Aye. All right, I'll sign that.
You can just sign it when you talk to the
Do you have a pen with it?
Yeah.
I feel sorry for Josh.
What's that?
For John?
Josh.